Trump stops his Cadillac motorcade for a homeless girl, and what he does next will inspire and challenge the world. The streets of New York were loud and busy, cars honking, people rushing, and the city alive with energy. Amid the chaos, a black motorcade, led by Trump's Cadillac, moved steadily. Inside the car, Trump listened to his advisors when something unusual on the sidewalk caught his attention. A little girl, about 10 years old, stood alone, holding a torn cardboard sign that read, "Please help. My family desperately needs a miracle." Her small frame looked fragile, her oversized gray hoodie barely keeping her warm. Her wide eyes searched the crowd, silently begging someone to notice her. Trump frowned and leaned forward. "Stop the car," he said firmly. The motorcade came to a sudden halt, surprising his security team. Trump stepped out, drawing the attention of nearby pedestrians. Phones were quickly raised as people started recording. "What's your name, sweetheart?" Trump asked as he walked toward the girl. His voice was calm and caring. The girl hesitated, clutching her sign tightly. "Lila," she said in a small voice. "Why are you out here, Lila?" Trump asked gently. Tears began to fill her eyes. "My mom's really sick. We don't have a home. My dad, he died in the war." Her voice cracked as she spoke, but she held herself together. Trump stood quietly for a moment, his expression softening. "Where did your dad serve?" he asked softly. "In the Middle East," Lila said, her voice shaking. "He was a hero, but after he died, everything fell apart." Trump straightened up, his face filled with determination. "Lead the way, Lila. Let's go meet your mother." The motorcade followed Lila into Brooklyn's narrow streets, where tall buildings gave way to crumbling houses and trash-filled alleys. Lila sat silently in the car, her small hands fidgeting nervously. "We're almost there," she said quietly, pointing to a rundown house at the end of a dark alley. Trump stepped out and followed her to the front door, a shaky structure barely standing. Inside, the air was damp and cold. In the corner of the room, on a worn-out bed, lay a frail woman struggling to sit up. "Mom, this is Mr. Trump," Lila said softly. The woman's lips trembled as she whispered, "Mr. Trump?" Her voice was weak, her eyes tired and uncertain. Trump knelt beside her. "You don't need to say anything," he said gently. "Lila did an amazing job bringing me here. I want to hear your story." The woman gripped her daughter's hand as she began to speak. "My husband Daniel was a soldier," she said, her voice shaky. "He gave his life in the Middle East. After he died, I got sick. We lost everything. Our home, our stability. Now this is all we have left." Trump glanced around the room, the broken furniture, the patched walls, the emptiness. Lila's soft voice broke the silence. "I just want my mom to get better. I don't want to lose her too." Trump turned to his team, his voice filled with urgency. "No family, especially the family of someone who sacrificed everything for this country, should have to live like this." The motorcade slowed as it navigated Brooklyn's narrow streets. Skyscrapers and polished storefronts gave way to crumbling buildings and littered sidewalks. Trump gazed out the window, his expression quiet as the neighborhood sank in. Lila sat beside him, gripping the seat nervously. "We're almost there," she whispered, pointing to a rundown house at the end of a dim alley. When the car stopped, Trump stepped out, his shoes crunching against debris. Children peeked from doorways, their wide eyes following his every move. Whispers spread among the onlookers, and a few adults stood at a distance, watching cautiously. Lila led him to her home, a structure barely held together by warped wood. She hesitated before gently pushing the door open. Inside, the air was damp. A worn-out bed sat in the corner, next to a small broken table. Lila's mother lay on the bed, her frail frame barely visible beneath a thin blanket. She struggled to sit up as Trump entered, her eyes widening with disbelief. "Mom," Lila said softly, "this is Mr. Trump. He's here to help us." The woman's lips trembled. Finally, in a faint voice, she whispered, "Mr. Trump?" Her tired eyes seemed unsure if he was real. Trump knelt beside her bed. "Yes, I'm here," he said gently. "Lila did an amazing job bringing me here. I want to understand your situation so we can help." Her grip on Lila's hand tightened. "My husband Daniel was a soldier," she said. "He gave his life in the Middle East. After he died, everything fell apart. I got sick, and we lost everything." Trump listened, glancing around the room, the patched walls, sagging ceiling, and emptiness. Her voice faltered as tears filled her eyes. "I've tried to hold on for Lila, but I'm scared. Trump reached out, placing a hand on her shoulder. "You've done enough. Now it's my turn," he said firmly. Turning to his team, he ordered, "I want a full report on this family's needs. Healthcare, housing, everything. And I want it now." "Sir," an advisor said cautiously, "we can coordinate with local agencies to handle this." Trump's tone sharpened. "No, they've waited long enough. If Lila can stand on a street asking for help, we have no excuse not to act immediately." Outside, a small crowd had gathered, their faces mixed with curiosity and hope. An older man stepped forward, his face lined with exhaustion. "Mr. Trump, if you're here to help, you should know, it's not just them. This whole neighborhood is struggling." Trump listened carefully. "Most of us here are families of people who served this country," the man said. "We've lost so much and nobody notices. My son had to drop out of school to help us survive." Trump's voice was steady and firm. "This isn't just about one family. This entire community needs help. I want a plan in place to address the bigger picture, and I want it tomorrow." The crowd murmured, their skepticism giving way to hope. Trump turned to Lila and whispered, "You've done something incredible today, not just for your mom, but for everyone here. I promise, I won't let you down." As the motorcade moved out of the narrow streets, Trump's mind raced. The despair he had witnessed in Lila's neighborhood weighed heavily on him. The crumbling homes and hollow-eyed children weren't isolated stories. They were symbols of a larger issue that demanded immediate attention. Back at his office, Trump wasted no time. "I want a detailed plan," he ordered firmly. "This isn't just about Lila's family. It's about every family left behind. We need real solutions, and I want them fast." News of Trump's visit spread quickly. Videos of him stepping out of his motorcade to speak with Lila went viral. On social media, the hashtag #HopeForHeroes began trending. Families shared similar struggles, thanking Lila for her bravery and calling for action. Within days, Trump announced the Hope for Heroes initiative, a plan to support veterans' families and underserved communities. It focused on housing, healthcare, and jobs. At a press conference, Trump addressed the nation with conviction. "Lila isn't just a little girl," he said. "She's a symbol of hope for thousands of families forgotten by the system. No one, especially the families of those who sacrificed for this country, should have to fight alone." The initiative gained immediate support. Corporations pledged millions in donations, nonprofits expanded their programs, and communities organized fundraisers and drives. Schools held charity events, veterans rebuilt homes, and individuals shared their stories, inspired by Lila's courage. Weeks later, Trump returned to Lila's neighborhood. This time, trucks filled with supplies lined the streets, and volunteers worked tirelessly to repair homes and distribute essentials. Lila stood at her doorway, holding her mother's hand as they watched the transformation. Trump approached with a smile. "Lila, this is just the beginning," he said. "Your bravery has sparked something much bigger than any of us could have imagined." Lila's mother, her health improving thanks to medical care, looked at Trump with tears in her eyes. "I don't know how to thank you," she said. "You don't have to," Trump replied. "Your husband gave everything for this country. This is the least we can do for you." As Trump walked through the neighborhood, residents came forward to thank him. An older woman holding a worn photograph of her son, who served in the military, said, "I never thought anyone would notice us. Thank you." Trump nodded, his expression serious but hopeful. "This isn't about me," he said. "It's about all of us working together to make sure no one is left behind." By the end of the day, the atmosphere in the neighborhood had completely transformed. Where there had once been despair, there was now hope. Lila's story had become a beacon for others, proving that even small actions could lead to meaningful change. As the sun set, Trump stood on Lila's steps, looking out at the gathered crowd. "This is the start of something bigger," he said, his voice carrying over the quiet street. "Together, we can rebuild not just homes, but lives." Should it be the government's responsibility or society's to help struggling communities like Lila's? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.